Oh, let's bring this a little closer.
Okay. You do it. I'm not touching it. Oh, shit. Let me get this on. What's up, beautiful babes?
I feel like this should be more like that.
I feel like if you do whatever you would like to do to it. Okay. I'm going to get...
Hello, guys.
Cool. What's up, Soul Circle?
What up, stellar beings?
Say hi.
What up, galactic family?
What up, galactic family? What up, spiritual badasses? Who's new?
I'm actually going to write...
We're going to write something?
I'm going to write, and then you can write mine.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
You got that.
I think so.
Like this? And you write mine.
Okay. Give us 2 seconds.
Give us 2 seconds, guys. We'll be with you.
We'll be with you shortly for the presentation this evening.
It won't be too long now. Stay right where you are.
There?
Great.
Beautiful.
Hey, guys. We're excited to be with you tonight.
Yeah, we are.
And we're going to get into some juicy questions tonight with my lovely, lovely co-host and soul sister, Serah Delane.
Holla. With my brother from another.
There's so much room for humor and spirituality. And you'll see it tonight.
If we're
So
not
buckle your
laughing at
seatbelt.
ourselves. So buckle your seatbelt.
Buckle your seatbelt. We're not going on cruise control.
We're not. Welcome to the galactic roller coaster. Strap in.
Where all of your emotions come to life.
Yes.
So
Okay,
let's start with a question. What do you guys want to ask us tonight? What up, D?
I so miss being able to start these with music. I really do. Dope. I'm gonna let you just handle it.
Someone
He's a
said
man.
your eyeliner's
We
on
let the
point.
man handle it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mikelfa. And we want to give a shout out to who we were at a coffee shop and someone said that they followed us.
Jeff. Shoot.
Jeff.
Wait
Fern?
for it.
Jeff.
I think so.
Anyways.
And then it has a couple numbers after it.
Yes.
Jeff,
so we
if
just
you're
want to thank
on
you.
and you saw us, then give a little hey.
Thank you for saying hi to us.
Yeah. He found us in our secret spot.
He did.
But we love it that he came and said hello.
All right,
shout
let's
out to
start
new
with a
friends.
question. How about on your end?
Sounds great.
The Phil and Sarah Show, the spiritual Regis and Kelly.
Oh my God, it's starting.
Connecting you with your internal compass.
That was really solid branding. I like that.
I like that too.
Copy. Okay. Okay, questions. Where's questions, beautiful babes? One person's like, my name is Jeff. I don't know if it was you, baby, but hi.
Hello.
All right, let's find a question. Anything we can do to prep/protect ourselves during Mercury retrograde coming up, which is like tomorrow. That's a little bit on the astrology level.
And I'm going to give just a quick perspective about Mercury in retrograde.
Handle it.
If you're dreading it because you've had bad experiences, then let that be a teacher for you to then reconfigure the way that you think around it. So there's a lot of truth to Mercury, but if you're already in a way like dreading it, you're calling that in to your experience.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That makes a lot of sense.
Totally.
There's a few things that I always just like to be mindful of, because I think everything we have to take, whether it's spirituality, whether it's, different opinions that other people have, whether it's Mercury retrograde, we have to take every piece and take the little bit of knowledge that we get and keep sort of like an open general mind to it, as well as not letting it rule our lives. Mm-hmm. So with Mercury retrograde, it's kind of like, I see it as, okay, there's a few things that I would like to be more aware of to help me avoid any, speed bumps. So one of the biggest things is communication. So it just means keeping that in mind so that then you can set an intention to have more conscious communication in all of your relationships.
And to not get frustrated.
And to not get frustrated when they don't go as planned. Exactly.
Yes.
Technology, any amount of communication, right? Anything that connects all of us. So, yeah, I'd say just kind of, I don't know, I don't want to make it too like astrological related, but I think just with anything, just keeping... There are certain things that I do with Mercury retrograde and then certain things that I don't do. And yet at the same time, I've started projects on Mercury retrograde, right? I've, a lot of different things that you're not supposed to do on Mercury retrograde. So it's, do we want to be bound by rules and regulations, or do we want to have just a greater mindset?
And shape our own reality.
Ooh.
And shape our own reality. And the other thing we're going to ask you guys is when you ask a question, just be rather specific, or else what's going to happen is we're going to get downloaded with all of your past life Wikipedias, and it's going to be really hard to sort through all that data,
and a few of your Akashic records.
Yes, so it's always good to be specific with a question. That way we can sort through that data.
Yeah.
More efficiently.
Yeah, because sometimes we'll give maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's that, because you have you have like a bunch of different potential realities that you could step into, and so we get blasted with the like top most probable ones.
Exactly.
So.
And a lot of the theme, and this is what I found, and Serah mentioned this today, we were talking about the potential future. She's like, I'm really just being with my now, and I'm finding that a lot of us want to tie all these things together, like past, present, and future. So we tend to bring the past back into the present, which then dictates our future. And we have to stop trying to tie them in together for that safety or for that, because we crave certainty. Every now moment is creating the next now moment. So if you can just be present with what you're feeling, then in that moment you're healing your past and you're rewriting your future. You're constantly rewriting your future. So let's try to step away from the future having to be in this now, because it's not in this now. It's not in this immediate reality. You
can be inspired by it.
You can be inspired and you can hold the vision. But the main thing for me is we have to really start dropping the past, because in every moment you have free choice and you can create a new now.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to.
I heard this recently, and granted it was like a trickle of who I heard it from, right? So someone heard it from, the person I heard it from Marianne Williamson. Where she heard it from, I have no idea. Came from ultimately Michelangelo. Pretty sure it was Michelangelo. Anyway, so he was sculpting, right? And he would take days and days. I think I told you this story, right? He would take days and days to create a sculpture, because he would sit there and he would look at the block of stone and think and visualize what he wanted to do with it, right? And everybody was like, what are you doing? You're not, he's like, I'm working. And then he's like, you're not doing anything. You're just staring at it, right? And then ultimately he would start chipping away all of the stones to then ultimately carve out this beautiful statue. And then everyone praised him for it and said, oh my goodness, you created such a beautiful work of art. And he said, I didn't create anything. God had already created that. I just stripped away everything that was around its beautiful creation.
That's beautiful.
So when we're talking about our past, those are the things that now we've layered as all this rock and stone around us as the beautiful creation that God has already created. We all already come from love. And yet now we have all this stuff that's over the top of our already perfect creation.
Yes.
That's getting in the way. That's then getting in the way of our future. That's getting in the way of our present to then ultimately creating.
And it's making our bodies, it's all that heavy duty energy that needs to be yanked out. Right?
Yeah.
Because if as long as we carry the past into the present, we're standing in the way, we're getting in the way of what the universe, of a new universe that wants to emerge from within you.
Universe created what?
Yeah. So
how can it get through rock?
It can't.
It's like you channel in through your body, but it's like got all this muck on the outside.
Yep. It can't. We just have to clear through those boulders in order to travel light and so on. Someone asked me, what is the spiritual business to you? So for me, a spiritual business is from the get-go, when I built my business, spirit came first. So I built my business based on following the internal instructions that were given to me by my higher self. I wasn't focused on, I need to get this amount of clients, I need this, because that's an external approach. So I tuned into my higher self, and I would do whatever it is that it asked of me.
Yeah.
And then that eventually snowballed and created what I'm doing now. But no matter what, my first business is my spirit. That's my primary focus. My sessions and my readings are a byproduct of that.
That's just how you do what you do.
That's just how I do it.
Like the readings are just...
Yeah, it's just a byproduct.
That's just the how.
Totally.
Your mission and all of that stuff is alignment with source and spirit.
Exactly.
How you do that could be through readings, through meditations, through many different avenues. It's funny because we were
and we can set it, and I'm so sorry, we can set it up that way. Like I made an agreement with my higher self from the get-go. When I'm not on track, higher self, don't throw business my way.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I was like, do not throw business my way, because my primary focus is you.
You need to get, or you need to be seeing something in that moment that then you would maybe otherwise be distracted with.
Right. So if my mission is to continue to evolve, and I'm not doing that because I'm busy being there for people, then I'm going against my mission.
You're not connecting in with that conversation.
Exactly.
Your relationship to you and your relationship to spirit.
And then it becomes, and a lot of psychologists and a lot of therapists, and I'm sure a lot of healers do this, they just hit the play button on the storehouse of information they've already accumulated. I don't want to be that guy. I want to constantly be in that mode where I'm receiving new downloads.
You don't want to like repeat the thing that you said like 5 years ago.
It's autopilot.
Yeah. Doesn't mean it's not true what you say 5 years ago, but it's like we want to constantly be creating something new, constantly be getting a new download.
And challenge ourselves.
Yeah.
And we can't grow if
deeper.
we're not challenging ourselves.
Well, that goes to the same thing in relationships then, right? Like, do you hit a plateau in your romantic relationships? And it's like, do you want to dive deeper and get to know that person on a deeper level? Since we're infinite beings, there's always something new to learn about each other. There's always something new to learn with yourself. There's always something new to learn with your connection with spirit and the information, since, I don't know, the collective is an infinite, vast pool of knowledge. I can't imagine that we would sit there and know all of it.
We can't. And that's why we're kind of here to mine. We're mining the Akashic records.
Oh, that's kind of good.
We're mining the soul. So when things get really intensified in your relationship, just know that you've dug enough to get to the treasure. And that's where you don't run away or abandon that person. You have to be there. You have to be present, because that's where the gold is.
Right.
So
I dig that.
We're miners. We're spiritual miners.
And we were having this conversation too about, just bringing it back to your question about business. Making sure that when you do have that connection to spirit, right, which is you, it's your connection to your higher self, call it God, call it whatever you want to. It's not separate from you.
Nope.
You're just bringing in the information so that you can decode it, right, through this processing
and so
system.
that you can get out of separation.
And so that you can get out of separation, that too. Well, there's that. Just that tiny little thing.
Just that tiny thing. So you can opt out of the game of separation. And just remember that this is just a game and it's not really real.
Just tiny, simple little things to do down here.
That we overcomplicate.
What? Humans overcomplicate?
Do we? I know we should.
I don't overcomplicate ever.
We should be called human doings, because we're busy doing
we are
too
human
much,
doings,
and we're not really human.
And we're
beings.
trying to be, and yet nobody's being. They're doing more than they're being.
More than they're being.
And yet
it's scary to just be, because you have to interface all these interferes and
face your emotions.
That's scary.
Oh, but what if it wasn't?
What if it's not? What if it's all just an illusion?
Who you were?
Yes, both.
We're not sarcastic at all.
But anyways, back to what you were saying.
Back to what I was saying. You can ask, right? It's good to, when you don't know what to do, right? It's good to go and seek advice and support for those things. And even with what advice you're seeking from other people, you still have to have that alignment with your higher connection so that then you can say, okay, is this congruent for me? Does this feel in alignment with what my spirit, my spiritual connection is guiding me to do on my path, to then stay on track with your path? Because a lot of people don't, they can give lots of different advice, but where is that advice? Is it coming from an old model? right? Are they updating their software all the time? Are they, where exactly are they coming from? So for instance, like in business, right? There's a lot of business models, and some of which could be considered like starting to be outdated.
Yes.
And maybe some,
because the energy shifted.
We want to shift it and try some new things.
Yes.
But everybody's so scared that something new isn't going to work. And yet, what if your highest self is saying, fuck, I don't know if this is going to work.
Yes.
But everything in me is saying I have to do it.
Because it's unforced territory.
Because it's unforced territory.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't have the light bulb
right.
if we didn't have somebody who would figure out like, oh, I wonder if this will work.
There are so many.
Edison.
There are so many.
It was like somebody.
So the thing is, like, there are so many different timelines happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So a lot of our duty here on Earth as starseeds, light workers, and empaths is to, in a way,
connect with your highest.
It's in a way to break down all those older timelines, right? By anchoring the new template.
Or you could say integrating.
Or integrating,
because
right? Which is both.
There are other versions of you that
Yes.
still have knowledge in those different timelines.
Yeah.
We're going quantum shit.
But if you can hold the vision of an Earth where people share, where
Yep.
people honor each other and all of that, and you're in a way being a grid holder in that moment, and you're holding the space for that new template to upload into Earth, then you're not going to choose the old way anymore, because you know that that's only feeding the past. It's not feeding the future timelines.
Totally.
So
It's getting into a space of, we talk about conscious relationships.
Yeah.
A new word that's been, that I've kind of been playing with a little bit is this interdependence, right? Because we talk about how codependence, right, is you need the other person to then fulfill something that you don't feel like you have within you.
Right.
But interdependence is, hey, I'm working on myself and showing up and doing my own inner work, and so are you, and how can we be of mutual support, right? It's more co-creative and collaborative, where both people have the vision of mutual support, mutual connection, mutual love, getting to the next highest level.
Yes.
It's no longer the, what can I get from you?
right, which
it's
is
how
the
do we
lack,
show up?
which is the lack, the competitiveness, the jealousy, which is
Totally.
all of a separation consciousness.
Separation and old. Talk about old model.
Yes, it is.
It's not who we are, but it's how we've been.
It's how we've been.
And the more that we can get out of that and move into whether it's interdependence or maybe there's another word. There's lots of different
Symbiotic.
words. Symbiotic.
Someone said, like, I really want to go off grid. I hear you, but
Okay.
go off grid once you learn how to be on grid, right? Because a lot of us want to escape our reality, not recognizing that we can really be those broadcasters of light
Right.
and those seeders of those new foundations.
Yeah.
By being on grid and by holding that light for the collective.
And what are you judging about the grid?
Yes.
Right? Like a lot of people, I'm not saying you, but a lot of people say, I want to go off grid because I don't want to be around the electromagnetics because that hurts.
I don't want to have to make money.
I don't want to have to make money because I don't like the, stick it to the man. I don't want to have to deal with government stuff and blah, blah, blah. And yet that's also a game.
Yes.
And it's a game that can be played in order to then achieve different levels of whatever it is that you want to create. But if you're in resistance to that, then I would check what is it that you're in resistance
and what
to.
are you running from?
And that's I guess what
That's
I mean
really
by the
what
resistance.
it means.
Yeah.
But I would say definitely go off grid, but first learn how to be on grid. It kind of goes back to speaking your
Right.
truth. Before you can step into that bold, blatant truth, learn how to not get defensive. Right? Learn how to,
be in
because
acceptance
I know
of
a lot of
whatever it
people
is.
who speak their truth, but they still have that negative charge in them. So when they speak it, it still triggers people. They haven't done there are phases when you're
You got to
evolving.
do work on your intentions, not your words.
That's good. So for me, before I became very bold and with
Yeah.
my conviction, I had to learn how to, like, every time I would feel defensive or triggered, like, go inside and drop into that space of grace and transcend those levels so that I can eventually speak my truth
Right.
without
How
a
is this
care of
making
how
me
it-
feel?
people
Right? What am I thinking about this?
Yes.
What meaning am I making about it? That kind of thing.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
So kind of like that. Like, you want to, that's the idea.
And so, because I have a similar thing. I am very sensitive to electromagnetics. They irritate my energy field. I can see the energy. I can feel the energy. I'm not a fan at all. And it's getting worse. So as much as we appreciate having new iPhone X's or iPhone 10s, whatever you call it.
iPhone X's.
And being able to connect with you guys all over the world, right?
Yep.
at the same time, we're getting greater connection to people, and yet our intimacy levels are getting further and further apart. There's that. But on the electromagnetic spectrum, we're getting higher and more intense Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something that doesn't feel good, right? I would love, absolutely, to live in the middle of the forest in a cabin that has no Wi-Fi whatsoever. And yet that would only give me a certain amount of resources.
And at the same time, we contracted to participate in this game to spread that light.
And shift what we can and take responsibility for ourselves.
Yes.
Despite whatever is externally happening, we can take the responsibility on how we show up.
Yep.
Make sure that you have, technology on your phones that help transmute that. If you guys want help with that, that's stuff that, little shout out to Sovereign Alliance on that. But if you want, it goes the same thing with relationships. Taking your responsibility for how you're showing up. You can't control who's going to do what. You can't control how people are going to react. My new thing is you can't control the weather.
You can't. That's my new thing. You cannot control the weather.
Even though then we're trying to do that with chemtrails and all kinds of shit.
You can't control the weather, but you can control how you respond to it. Right? Yes. It's like it's raining outside, but what kind of day do I want to have?
Yes.
And what is this rain bringing up in me? Is it bringing up sadness that hasn't been resolved?
Totally.
Is it bringing up grief that never got completed?
Because if you're saying that the weather can control you, then you give all of your power away to the weather.
Just like Mercury in retrograde.
Oh.
You're doing that too.
You just went full circle on that.
Full circle. I love that. You got to put it in a file somewhere to then pull it out later. It's just what you do. Your third eye pays attention to everything. But yeah, and also recognizing that 2012 was like the marker where the enslavement program of the Matrix was dissolved. So you're not enslaved to that programming anymore. Like you can really create your own reality.
I think some of us still, I think there's still programs.
Well, we're running we're still running it, but it's been asked to be broken down at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a better
But it's deeply embedded within all of us.
Yes.
And we also contracted to play in the enslavement program so that we can eventually take our power back.
Yes.
And remember who we are.
Yes.
To then shape our own reality.
Yeah.
So
the lock to the grid and the matrix was unlocked.
Unlocked. A new gateway opened.
A new gateway was opened.
And so now all the stuff that you feel, like if you feel negativity in a room, that's yours. If you feel fear around traveling, that's yours, right? And it's all part of an older belief system, an old enslavement program that needs to be disposed of once and for all, that needs to be broken down.
Right.
So you have support. Right? You're encircled by a myriad of angels and spirit guides and your higher self and that oversoul. So don't be afraid to step out of that box and test the limit, like to push the envelope. Don't be afraid to push the envelope.
Absolutely.
Let's take a question.
I think was that on?
Yeah. I think I want to answer this because it ties into it intersects with what I just talked about. The Matrix. Someone asked about the Matrix.
I just saw that too.
Cool.
Great. I'm glad you picked up on that. Awesome.
So I'm going to kind of give you guys a quick synopsis as to what this entire reality is about.
Handle it.
Your body is holding on to old energies, dense energies that are reflective of where you once were or where your ancestors once were. And so whenever you step out in your day, everything that's being reflected back to you is something that is still being held in your body. So if by holding yourself accountable for what you attract and by acknowledging what you feel, then you start to heal and you start to clear those old programs. The Matrix was designed to seem very real, right? So it feels like we're separate. She feels like a woman. I'm a man, but we're not separate. We're both spiritual beings in human form, in a way learning how to get along. So if she enslaved me, she was part of that program in another life, or I enslaved her, part of that.
Define what you mean for them by enslavement.
By enslavement, I mean when someone tries to use power over you. Manipulation, control, dominion. So the idea is that this game has been set up for you to opt out of that duality reality and to remember that we are all one. So whenever...
To remember that you also have an opt-out button.
You do have an opt-out button.
Because there's some people who don't think that they have an opt-out button.
Yes.
Yeah,
you do. You have an opt-out button. And this even happened to me the other day. I was angry with a friend because I felt like I wasn't being heard. And then I went into meditation. I connected into my heart and I said, am I really mad at this person? No. Are they a blessing? Yes, because they're reflecting in me something that I'm still harboring. in my own body. And what it was I wasn't honoring my own boundary.
Yeah, totally.
I wasn't honoring my own boundary. And because I couldn't control myself, I was then trying to tell them that they should honor my boundary. And I was trying to tell them what they should do, when really it was just about me following through on my own boundary.
That was a really nice, vulnerable moment.
Yeah, it was really nice. So I connected into my heart, and in that moment it flipped, it switched from like, I'm mad at this person, to what a privilege it is to have this person in my life, to mirror back to me the program I'm still holding on to.
And what's interesting is I see that there was the possibility of that because you took yourself out of just your perspective and you jumped into an observer perspective to then also see it from their perspective.
And to see that they are me.
And that they are you,
Yes.
and there's no separation,
Yes.
which created then compassion,
Yes.
which created love and connection.
Which bridges into unity.
Into unity, that bridges the separation. So, yeah, what else did you want to say?
So that's all about the Matrix. It's a deeply embedded program that needs to be broken down.
Yeah.
And you do that through every day, whatever gets triggered in you, you release it, and so on. What's your take?
So, right, just the small sentence of breaking down the matrix. Oh my God, we should do a video on this that really breaks down the specifics, because there's a lot of elements to it.
Because we are fifth dimensional. We already are multidimensional.
You already are.
So all you have to do is break down the program.
Yes.
That's all you have to do.
It's the same concept like the statue. Like if we're
Exactly.
already 5-dimensional, but we're getting weighed down by
I love
all
how you
of
tied
the
that
rocks.
back in. You did that too.
We lived it.
You did that too. You put it in a little file over there. In an orange folder, I saw it.
What? All about that I saw. What do you think? Who's playing what game?
I see you.
I see you.
My third eye doesn't, nothing slides by my third eye. It tracks everything. Sometimes, like, Sarah and I were talking about this. Sometimes, like, people think we're not paying attention. It's like, no, my third eye already got it. Don't even try. My third eye.
That one and the two behind. I got 3 third eyes.
You do?
Bitches. I got a 3, a 4th, and a 5th.
Damn. What star system is that? Or is it a mix?
Oh, maybe.
Like
I
Cassiopeia?
don't,
for you?
Cassiopeia, but I don't align with Cassiopeia. I don't align
All right.
with a specific star system. I have visited many places, but I don't align with being like Pallades or
No, I
Arcturian.
don't, because that's still a game of
align with
separation.
Yes.
In a way, that's still a game of... I only work with Archangel Michael. Then that means you're separating out...
Well, I actually do. I align more with the realms
Right.
than I do with the star systems.
Totally.
So I guess angelic realm
Yes.
would be mine.
I align with whatever wants to send me wisdom.
That's such a good point. Because like I went and visited Arcturians and on Arcturus. I went and visited Pleiades. That was the last place I was before I was down here.
Yes.
We just went we went there.
We went there.
We just jumped out of the Matrix to talk about
We're pretty much telling you that
This whole
everyone
conversation
on
is
this
outside
broadcast
the Matrix.
is an alien. We didn't always get along, and we're in this laboratory
here
trying
now.
to get along now.
We're here now. We
Right?
came back to Soul Circle.
So I forgive you for having enslaved me in the past. Here's my power. I got it back. All right. What's that triggering in you? Go face that.
I forgive you for
What is it
potentially
triggering?
probably killing me in a past life.
I forgive you for burning me at the stake for being a witch. I do. I'm not going to place a curse on you anymore, but if you mess with me, you're placing a curse on yourself.
Oh. You just dropped that.
We're just having fun.
And slay. Dropping truth bombs. And
But we're aliens learning how to get along.
I mean-
Planet Earth that's why it's a melting pot for all these
Yeah.
aliens.
pretty much.
Yep.
Somebody asked me once, they're like, do you think that you're from here? And I'm like, no.
Most of us are not from here.
Most of us are not from
We're
here.
hybrids.
Does that explain outside the Matrix?
A little bit.
Okay, so, but on the real level, realer level, okay, Matrix. So I'm gonna say it like this. You guys have heard me, but also both of us really talk about the patterns that we have, right? And those patterns have been programmed within to us that we inherit, right? We don't start with those. They get programmed once you incarnate, right?
They're ancestrally inherited.
They're ancestral, akashically inherited, 100%.
You name it.
Societally inherited.
Collectively.
Inherited.
We are going to town on this
We
thing.
are. We're trying to give all forms of... The Matrix is it's not simple, so we're trying to... Okay.
It's actually really simple from a different perspective.
Kind of,
but
yeah.
I know what you mean.
But
it's
I'm trying
really
to...
difficult. Demystify it.
If you want me to start speaking light language, I can crack that in about
I know you
2.5
can.
seconds. But I need to do
Alright.
it in human
Form.
words and form. And, okay, so where's my thought? Okay, there it is. So
She rewinded real quick. All right, rewind. She's like, all right, let me travel
where
back.
was it? Grab it and okay.
Okay.
So the patterning, right? The programming that we've inherited and then continue to make agreements to, right? Whether it's television, society, blah, 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 all of the above. Until we become, I'm totally going to drop this word, sovereign. We were talking about
I
it
love
earlier.
that word.
I
Spiritually
was
sovereign.
spiritually sovereign. I was kind of, playing around with that word a little bit. Shout out to my girl, Erica. So spiritual sovereignty, and I don't mean sovereignty in the form of, a royal king, queen status, right? There's that, yes, but that almost kind of takes it more on the like egoic, side. But sovereign also means like your independence. Like the authentic, clear version you are without all of the patterning and the programming and all of those things that we inherit, right? So coming back to your spiritual sovereignty.
Coming back to your 0 point field.
That's good.
That's very
Spiritual sovereignty is your 0 point field.
Which is your space of neutrality.
Which is your space of neutrality.
I'm not a people pleaser, which is I'm allowed to say no because that's my right.
Which is
because
now
I
I'm
have
not
a right to do what I want.
Yep, I'm not controlled by jealousy and the things that trigger me, right?
Yep.
I can track those emotions, I can feel them and choose now how do I want to respond to it, right? That's all getting out of the matrix because the matrix is set up to keep you in autopilot of your behaviors and your habitual behaviors, the things that you do just automatically, right? That autopilot. So if you can come back into being conscious and get into that 0 point field, I love that, of your spiritual sovereignty, then that's breaking out of the matrix. And what you get to do from the 0 point field, 2.5 seconds, what you can do from the 0 point field is then you consciously now can create with the vision and the intention of what your alignment to your highest version of yourself would now like to have you experience in this particular incarnation.
Beautiful.
Bam.
And to add to that,
Just channel it.
it was beautiful. Very beautiful. I just want to acknowledge that.
That's so beautiful.
All right. So the idea is you want to
such nerds.
process all those old programs out of the body. As you do that, you're breaking the loop of you're caught in a timeline loop when you're in the matrix.
Ooh.
So you're bound by time. And a lot of us are caught in the same
exist,
loop, which really just means you're caught in the vicious cycle
Right.
of your old pattern, of your old programming.
Yeah.
So as you process and gut out all of those programs, you start to transcend all those layers. And you reach a place, which is the 0 point field, that is not bound by time. And when you're above time, you're vibrating above that, outside of that construct, right, is a better way to say it.
Totally.
Then from that place, you can bend reality. So people always ask me, how do you...
You can time bend.
You can time bend. So people always ask me, how do you manifest so readily? Because
Hashtag Time Lords.
Time Lords. Because I've truly gone into those layers, into those programs, broken them down to where I'm not enslaved to time anymore. If you're not enslaved to time anymore, then you can have fun with it. You can truly shape the reality that you desire.
The other thing that I'm...
Because you have no attachment.
You have no
attachment. But when you're
to it,
programmed, you're in an entanglement.
Yes.
You're entwined with this program that's slowing you down. That's heavy duty.
So think about it literally like a grid matrix, right? And not only is there the collective grid matrix, but then each one of you has your own grid matrix. So we're matrices inside of the matrix.
Doing grid work. We're doing grid work.
That just went even more quantum.
Yes.
So you recoding your own blueprint, your own matrix, right? To then be time bending the matrix, the whole matrix outside of you and how you interact with that.
Yes.
Here's another, right? We know that time doesn't exist, and I'll say it as I see it, right? So see if this resonates with you. I don't see time as being linear, like how we say past, present, future. Yes, that exists, but it's not on a linear line.
It's circular.
It's circular, and it's layered on top of itself. So, and somebody asked about Akashic Records. So your different layers, right, are different lifetimes. as well as then this lifetime that you're in, the different years of your existence that have different programs, just like on a wheel. If you draw a circle and you have different significant events that go all the way around the wheel,
Yep.
and then each year you're going to create another wheel that then has another significant event or different significant events. I need to draw a graph on this shit.
Well, you know what?
Hang
I'm
on,
getting
but
a visual.
yeah, totally.
Okay.
So because then when you have a significant event that's, let's say, is really emotional, let's say a breakup in a relationship, and then the following year, or let's say 3 years later, you come back on the same day that happened, and even though you've forgotten it relatively emotionally, right, or excuse me, you've forgotten it through your mind, your memory, thoughts of it, but all of a sudden you wake up on that same day and you don't remember it mentally, but now 3 years later, you're like, fuck, why do I feel so emotional about this? And it's 3 years later, and yet those 3 years prior, that same event, that significant event happened on this timeline.
Yeah.
I'm going on a whole other tangent
it's true.
right now.
But I think
I'll draw a graph for
what
you
I
guys.
kept seeing is like a vertebrae or like your spine.
That's good.
And so you keep coming back, and then you have to constantly adjust yourself to be in alignment and to bring the spine back into alignment. So you're
That's a good way to
you're
put it.
acting as a chiropractor, an energetic chiropractor, tracking your energy, tracking
Yes.
your emotions, and aligning them
Yeah.
with where you see yourself going. And who
Yeah.
you know yourself to be is actually better. Who you know yourself to be. Because we are all these interdimensional galactic beings, but we've adopted so many of these belief systems, these BSs, that are not ours. And the memory had to be wiped to keep this game real. It's simulation at its finest. So it had to be wiped. We don't need to bring the past anymore into the present. And that's why it's always wiped. We just have to keep focused on what feels good to us, what feels in alignment in this now moment. That's all that matters.
I believe, though, that when we pass away in this lifetime, if we reach those levels of conscious awareness,
Yep.
that when we actually transition out of this physical density of this lifetime, we can set a conscious intention to then have our soul remember the experiences, the lessons, the memories of this particular lifetime. For the next one.
Yes.
Which is also then going back to Akashic Records and having that reading or doing a timeline.
Yes.
I don't want to say reversal. It's not timeline reversal, but you can go and access different timelines to then get the information from your previous selves.
And you know why you have to get the information? Because you've been ignoring that past life version of who you are for so long.
Right.
So it's hidden from you.
Yeah.
Or you've been hiding from it.
Yeah.
So really a past life reading means drawing information or drawing records of things that you can't readily access. And then they're given to you so that we can shed light on the patterning so that you can experience a better earth, so that you can experience a better quality of life.
Exactly. And then somebody said, I don't think it's completely wiped. I do agree with you. And yet for some people, it is completely wiped.
Yes.
To a certain extent, when I incarnated in, I remembered some things, even when I was really super young. But to be honest, it wasn't until I had a near-death experience that then cracked open the whole field. And all of a sudden, I started remembering and was shown things that, like, I didn't know before
Yes.
that was just an instant knowing, like a full-on can't explain it knowing. So
And you're
I
right.
agree with you. And
A lot of it is, it is wiped, and sometimes we can remember our past lives, but the reason why it's not necessary is because if you feel a negative trigger, you can only shift it in the present.
in the present.
That's why you don't need to know the past.
That's a really, you
Right?
need to say that again.
So if you get triggered, that is a past life version of you getting triggered.
Yep.
That is traumatized. That's caught in the past. Got it?
Yep.
You can only shift it by being present. That's why you don't need to remember the past.
No.
You just have to know what you're feeling in that
Yep.
moment, breathe through it, acknowledge it, give it the love that it needs.
Yep.
While so many of us, we feel triggered and then we get mad at them and we point the finger and we do that. And all
Yes.
you're doing is you're shoving it back down.
Yeah.
You're not giving it the light that it needs to
Those
grow.
triggers are showing up on purpose for you to then shift them.
Not for you to then travel and be like, why am I feeling this? No, what are you feeling? What is it that you're feeling in that moment? And what new pattern or new pathway are you going
Would
to
you like to
in this
create?
now moment?
Yes.
To
Yeah.
free you from your past
Yep.
and to move you into the future.
100%. And that's one way to do it on a conscious level.
Yes.
And then there's some deeper patterns that you have to go into the subconscious to shift.
Yes. And that's why we're here.
And that's why we're here.
We're really just when you work with people like me and Serah, all we're doing is we're handing you keys that you left
your own door.
at a galactic coffee shop. You lost your keys. We're just here to give you the key back and go enter your door and have the greatest life you want, right?
Yeah.
That's all we're here to do, is to help you remember what your soul knows.
100%.
But it's just that you've forgotten because you've been avoiding that part of yourself so long, or you've been beating it up for so long.
Yeah.
Like when you get reactive, you're hurting yourself.
Right.
When you get defensive, you're not healing yourself. You're being granted an opportunity to go in and not get defensive and heal yourself.
Yeah.
And instead, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So you can't really heal those past life versions of who you are until you're present with what you're feeling.
Right.
Take a pause, breathe, and let it clear out, process it out of your system.
Yeah. I like that you said that. Because that is, like, we know that you guys already know on a cellular and on a subconscious and on a multi-dimensional level, you already know who you are.
You do.
The egoic side, the layers outside of the statue,
the
matrix programming that's layering that statue, your already beautiful God-created version of yourself, all of that is what's stopping. That's all the pain, the wounds, the programming, all of that stuff. So that just has to get taken out.
It needs to get taken out.
And loved, right? So you can love it, but then it's still a pattern in the subconscious.
It's
so
the
it just
mole,
needs to be shifted.
like if you have
and then you step back into your highest version of yourself.
Totally. If you have black mold in your kitchen, you're going to yank it out. You're going to get it out.
You can't just paint over it.
You can't. So the matrix programming...
That's polishing a turd.
...is going to remain present in your life. It's going to remain present in your life until you fully face it. That's what's going to happen. The other thing is, we're doing this work not only for ourselves, you guys. There are patterns that your ancestors didn't get to clear, which is part of that matrix programming.
Totally.
There are patterns that other people across the world that you've contracted to work with are doing this. So as you're clearing that matrix programming, you're clearing stuff for the collective so that future generations can become embodied and have less of that heavy duty energy to clear through.
And most importantly, and closest to you, yes, it's for the collective, 100%. Because the more that you get that awareness within yourself, the more you anchor it into this dimensional reality, which means it's possible for other people to learn.
Right.
So the more that we love ourselves deeper and then create greater love in our relationships and deeper love and intimacy in our relationships, the more it's possible for so many other people that are thinking, oh God, that's not possible, right?
We're paving the way.
We're bringing the codes in, channeling it, being the conduit through our own energy fields, creating it with others so that it's possible for the collective. The other aspect is that when you shift your patterns within yourself, it's like, think of like a sweater that unravels. So you start unraveling them. These are for all my cycle breakers, right? Where you guys have heard me talk about this before. When you start breaking the cycles within you and your patterns, releasing your patterns, your generation or your lineage, right? Through cellular memory of your father, your mother, your sisters, all those are connected. We're all connected through the cells and our lineage, right? So when you start unraveling it within your cellular DNA, it then pulls the string on the sweater of your DNA that goes through all of the rest of your family lineage.
Right.
So when you do the work within yourself, you also do it for your mother, your father, your brothers, your sisters, your fucking dog.
Can we not forget Mother Earth? Can we not forget Mother Earth? Because there's
that too. So because we're in resonance with Mother Earth.
We're in resonance with Mother Earth.
But some people call it Father Earth.
As we start to bring in those light encodements, we are actually helping her ascend. So it's kind of like, imagine we're being housed by Mother Earth right now. Like if you were staying with someone, you'd bring them coffee in the morning. You do things for them.
Totally.
In a way, we're here being housed by Mother Earth, and we're here to help her ascend.
That's a good. She's also doing the same for us.
She's doing. It's a collaborative effort.
So it's an interdependent relationship.
It's truly simultaneous.
We need her. She needs us.
Yes. So when you do the work, you're actually anchoring the new template of the new Earth, so that she can ascend into that. Does that make sense?
When you do it for the collective.
You're doing it for the collective.
For Gaia, for collective.
You're holding a grid.
Yeah. So if you guys needed a reason why.
That's why.
That's why. That's why we do it for ourselves. That's why we're here to support other people doing it, because we understand that as a collective. Yes. So it's about like are we going to be the ones that sit there and pick up the trash when there's litter, right? On our streets? Like do we continue littering? Mother Earth with our patterns, our programming, or are we going to say, wow, let's really like step up and everybody do their part to pick up the trash.
Right.
Then our earth would be cleaner. Then we're cleaner. Then the collective is cleaner energetically and physically.
And it's about small
tangibly.
acts. It's about small acts too, right? Like a few years ago, I would never tip people who work in my building or whatever, right? I would never do that because I was still in that old programming. But most of us, where a lot of us are vibrating right now, is if you did work for donations, you probably wouldn't get much donations. That's why we have to charge for what we do. All right? We have to start stepping...
It's also an energy exchange.
We have to start stepping up vibrationally and conquering those fears around money and being like, you know what? I honor this person and what they're doing for the building. I'm going to tip them. I honor this person for giving me my coffee every day and taking care of me. Here's a little tip. We have to start stepping and moving into that consciousness of unity where you're contributing, you're giving energy to people who are you. They're an aspect of you, and as you do that, you start circulating more of that light.
And it's just a program anyway.
Everything.
The belief systems about money, the belief systems that we have about relationships, all of our belief systems are a program.
Yes.
It's about, are those belief systems serving you and coming from a place of love and a benefit to you, or are those belief systems not serving you, coming from a place of fear and lack?
Right.
Which, so belief systems are good. And because they rule our lives. All of our belief systems rule our lives.
The BS rules your life.
So we want to have good BS or bad BS?
Yeah.
Either way, we're going to have BS.
Or you can release the BS and have a BF. And attract a BF. But as long as a boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
But if you're still holding on to the BS, you're not going to attract the right boyfriend.
You hold on to your BS, you're not going to get a BF. Or a GF. Or a GF.
Is that for gluten-free? Or a girlfriend? I've become so LA. I'm like, yay, more gluten-free for everyone. Is
that for gluten-free?
I was like, gluten-free is the new gold. That's how you know we live in Hollywood. When GF is gluten-free.
GF stands for gluten-free as opposed to girlfriend.
Well,
oh my God. I mean, I'm just saying, I know we got a lot of like badass ladies on the line, but like there might be some dudes too. They're like, yo, what about us? I hear you. I see you. I got you.
I see you.
You don't want gluten-free bread. You want a girlfriend. I get it.
All right. That was quite a blonde moment for me, which is fine. I'm not going to go dye my hair. I'm not going to go guilt myself. And...
Don't step into the Matrix, boo.
I'm not going to step into the Matrix.
Don't do it. We love you. We forgive you.
So the idea, you guys, and I can't talk seriously anymore because I'm the gluten-free guy now or the jock itch guy. I don't know. Yeah, the idea is to kind of gut out all of that limiting programming. Because if it's limiting, it's not of God. That's the bottom line. Mm-hmm. If the universe is abundant, the wind is at your back. You have a spiritual entourage that wants to see you succeed, that wants to see you thrive.
Yes.
And so anything that is of a limiting nature is old.
Yeah.
So are we helping it by continuing to live on planet Earth rent-free? Are we helping it? Rent-free meaning...
That's a good point.
And do you want entities and parasites attached to you? They're living with you rent-free. So that's where sovereignty comes in.
That's where
because
sovereignty,
it's like,
yes.
I'm not gonna house anyone for free. I'm not a homeless shelter as far as like with parasites.
Do you like people who squat on your couch?
No. So we have to we all have to hold hands collectively.
And eat your food out of your fridge. and all your gluten-free bread. Nobody likes a parasite who's squatting on the couch and eating their gluten-free bread.
Right.
Nobody likes that.
So really we just have to weave in those new light encodements and that way they can clear the old darkness.
Yes. The
old darkness meaning we don't judge it. It's just an old energy that needs to transmute. It needs to elevate its own consciousness. Cool.
It needs to move on. We need to get a new popular
Oh my God,
thing.
I just got a download.
It was like when white bread was really popular and then it became gluten-free. And now after gluten-free, I don't know what the new popular upgrade is going to be. But like, you know what I mean? Like it was soy milk and then it was almond milk. Like we need the fat-free.
And now fat's cool.
And now it's grass-fed milk.
Right. But I just got a massive download.
Please share about gluten-free
In relation to these old matrix programming, we're all enablers. We're
I
enabling
like that.
them.
I mean, I get that.
We're enabling them
elaborate.
as opposed to disabling the system. We need to disable that old programming. But right now we're like, oh, you want a lollipop? Here. I'm afraid. I'm gonna crawl into a shell and be afraid. So
Wait,
we're
keep
enabling.
elaborating.
We're keeping it alive. We're keeping
how?
that.
Like, I get what you're saying, but
we're
go
keeping the
specific.
matrix programming alive by not stepping out of that box of comfort or that box of challenging ourselves, or that box of fear.
Oh, right.
So we're keeping it alive. We're enabling it.
We enable, like how you enable your comfort zone by making excuses for why you can't get out of your comfort zone.
So then we can't then turn around and say we don't like the state of this planet because we're actually enabling it.
Right.
All right, let's take another question. But yeah.
And moving on. Did that cover the Matrix?
I think it covered
question?
the Matrix a lot. I think like
a lot.
I think we got our point across.
Like we went all the way
across
to gluten free with that Matrix.
Yes.
Did that make sense?
So, can I just address this real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
How do we get rid of Trump? All right, I want to address this real quick. If you've been listening, then you know that this design, this construct of reality, this video game has been designed to bring up things that you're still holding in your own body, frequencies that you have not yet addressed.
Right.
Donald Trump, it's not about playing a side or calling him names because that's a judgment.
Which is inside the Matrix. Step outside of that box and ask yourself, what is he bringing up in you that hasn't been released yet? So in that regard, it's a blessing because it's acting as a catalyst for things that you have yet to resolve. Right.
We have to get out of this opt out of the game of judgment. As long as we judge or try to control, then we're not going to log out of the game. So people who say, oh, Donald Trump's an asshole, that's a judgment. That means it's a judgment you still hold about yourself and others.
Or what you're judging about him specifically is something that is unresolved within you.
It's a frequency that's still being held in your cellular structure.
Somebody just got triggered by that right now.
Exactly. So, but we're saying this out of love because this is not about Trump. You can think of...
it's not actually about him at all.
I just got it. If you're a galactic being, then you've come in from the future. So you're in an older timeline. So Trump shouldn't affect your reality. It's on a different timeline than what you're trying to seed. You're trying to seed a new timeline.
Like, what if... I like that. You've come from the future, right? So if you take that perspective of it, then the Trump that you're experiencing now has already passed and therefore wouldn't actually trigger you because you've already seen the potential that he has been brought into this matrix to do
to bring about the new
to bring about. However it's going to happen. Like, whatever your beliefs or opinions or whatever, it actually doesn't matter at all because it's not about him. It's about the purpose that he serves. And however that's going to happen, we're still going to get there.
Right.
We're still going to get there.
I love you so much. And one little thing to add, but if you're feeling it viscerally, that's yours.
That's yours.
And it's a matrix programming that's deeply embedded that you need to yank out.
And you can heal that.
You can heal that. I don't feel what other people feel because I know the truth. I know that we've already transcended all that.
Right.
Anything in separation. I know the truth of who we are is that we're moving to a higher earth, which is of love and light and support and probably no government. I don't know. Like, there's not going to be the same exchange. There's a new energy upon us.
There's a new energy.
So my thing is, as long as you're being triggered by what's going on outside of you, there's something within you that has yet to be resolved. Right. And if you go out and you try to point the finger, you're not helping your own case. That's the bottom line.
It's another external reflection of how on a mental and emotional level, our consciousness is still operating from duality and separation, meaning we're still going to then judge people and say, you're on that side and I'm on that side, in which case then we're not saying we're all one. And we're all the same. So it's set up as a matrix tool to then keep you separated even by your statement right there. Of saying, he's different than me, then you're different than me, right? It doesn't...
Separation consciousness.
It's separation consciousness. It's not unity consciousness.
If you really trusted God wholeheartedly, there are no mistakes.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Oh.
That's all I'm going to say.
Ooh.
If you trusted God wholeheartedly, then there are no mistakes.
Including
So maybe
Trump
check your issue. So maybe check your issue with God. What's your issue with God?
That could be interesting.
Right? And are you going to cultivate that relationship? Are you going to go into that relationship? Because my relationship with God is no different than with a friend.
Right.
God, I'm not trusting you right now. Right? What is it that I need to work on? What is it that we can negotiate?
And if you're not trusting God, then at what level are you not trusting yourself?
That's right.
Since there's that version of God.
Because God is inside of
you.
you. You're an aspect of him, of God, of source, consciousness, whatever you believe that
That's
to be.
the true outside the matrix.
Mm-hmm. There's no...
I think we covered it.
We covered it.
We went all the way from gluten-free to Trump to... We covered a lot of interesting topics. We're skipping around a little bit tonight.
We're skipping around different timelines, too.
Yeah.
So just remember, like...
There was a lot of relationship to self, is what I heard.
Yes. So,
And
I just got this. So if your pain body's being activated, a part of you is still caught in an older timeline.
If your pain body is still getting activated...
By Trump, a part of you is still caught in an older timeline.
You could tie that into past relationships.
Anything. No, I'm saying anything.
Yeah.
I'm anything at all. Cool. Yeah. Let's take one on your side. We did that. Good job, Serah.
Ditto, baby. All right. We got lots of thumbs up and lots of amens and oops, let's not move that. Okay. Yeses. All right. Let's see.
How do you heal your pain body?
Love you,
Release your
badass
judgments.
Release your judgments.
That's really all it's about. Release
Track
your
the pattern
judgments.
that it's bringing up in you.
And remember that judgment is associated to control.
And
so
the pain body.
When we feel a need to control someone, is because we're judging them.
The pain. Ooh.
When we feel a need to control someone, it means that we still hold judgment.
Yes. Pain body is like an addiction. And so our negative emotions can come up and just like a drug or any habit that you have, you'll get addicted to then feeding the pain body. So that's then also part of the matrix, leaving you or keeping you set up to be the victim to your emotions or whatever that is, right? If that's anger, if that's frustration, if that's, melancholy, if that's depression, if that's whatever it is, it's all being triggered within the pain body. And to a certain extent, there's an addictive, codependent relationship to the element of your pain body or the consciousness of your pain body.
And
think of that as like a parasite.
People have been asking, what's a pain body? It is the combination.
It's the energy or emotional
of all the
body.
belief systems that you've made an agreement to.
Okay, I call it your emotional body.
It's your emotional body. Wherever it is that you contract, right,
Yes.
as opposed to expand.
Yes.
Suppress as opposed to express.
Yes.
And so whenever you feel that your body is tensing up and it's contracting, that's your pain body. That's enacting in that moment.
Yeah.
So the idea is to breathe through it, expand the body, connect into the heart, and ask yourself, is this really true or am I judging right now? Because you're attracting something into your reality, into your vibrational field that is reflecting what you need to release.
Or it's in your energy field still, and that's why you're attracting it into your external reality.
Exactly,
because it's
both.
in your multidimensional field. You have many different layers of not just your pain body is one of the layers within your multiple layers of your energy body. So if you're attracting something into your external reality or from your external reality, then it means somewhere, whether it's your
In
mentor,
your
mental, your
mental
astral,
body, physical body, ethereal
body, all of the above.
Yeah.
Look up the biofield.
Yes.
Just go Google biofield and you can see all the different layers of your energy body. So if there's something in your external reality, then it means that there's something in either one of your energy bodies within the biofield.
And can I just share this to simplify?
Handle it.
You know that Batman emblem or that Batman symbol you see in the sky?
Yeah.
We think it's in the sky. It's in you. That's how you should look at your life.
What?
Look at your life as every emotion and energy that you have is being projected outside of you onto your physical reality.
Got it.
Your physical reality is demonstrating to you all those frequencies that are still being held in your body that are either causing you to vibrate slower or the ones that you can then transmute to vibrate higher, to vibrate into a higher state. So your mind is like the Batman. It's being projected onto your physical reality that you're experiencing every day.
Amplified by the intentions of your emotions.
Yes.
So it gets brighter.
Right.
Batman symbol gets brighter.
To then reflect in you
what you need to see and what you need to shift.
Correct.
And also the positives, right? Because
all of it.
It's all of it. So we don't want to just say that the Batman symbol is like all your negative crap.
The positives are going to be the work that you've done on a conscious level.
That's a good point.
And then the negative
so
stuff's
going to be Batman,
the stuff,
and then you've got like
right. And then
nobody else really project. Nobody.
And the negative stuff's going to be whatever's being held in your unconscious or subconscious.
Yeah.
And then the good stuff's going to be what you're practicing consciously.
Totally. All right. So, was this helpful for everybody?
I think we did really well.
I think we slayed it.
I think we slayed.
Awesome. So, follow Phil.
Follow Serah.
Hey. This is Soul Circle.
Kelly
we do these
Regis, spiritual version.
This is the spiritual version. I'm doing Relationship Remedy, 30-minute relationship remedy sessions. You guys can book those. You can book sessions with Phil.
I do 30 minutes as well.
You do 30 minutes. Intuitive readings.
Spiritual guidance.
All that fun stuff. So we love you guys. This is Soul Circle. It's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And yes, we will upload these to YouTube.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. We
Bye.
love you. Mwah.